With me is Mary Harper, Africa editor for BBC World Service. Mary, interesting Thomas saying that in Bossangoa there's some sense of relief already. 1,600 French troops isn't a vast contingent. I suppose even 6,000 African Union isn't a vast contingent. Can that be enough?
It's difficult to say. Certainly the residents of Central African Republic are delighted that the French troops in particular have arrived, even though the presence of any foreign forces, particularly French, in a country like that is always controversial. But whether they can effectively stem this violence that has been spreading in the most uncontrolled way is a somewhat difficult question to answer.
And, I mean, we've been using the words of even anarchy, that a country on the brink of. That's not an exaggeration, really, is it?
No, it's not, because the rebel alliance that toppled the former president, Francois Bozizé, they've essentially split into myriad different forces, and Christians in particular have set up vigilante groups to try to stop that. So being able to contain violence that is so fragmented is going to be a huge challenge.
Now, you've just come back from Paris, from the Élysée summit of 50-odd African countries, led by the French in terms of trying to... Well, they're very keen to push forward this idea of building up a real African rapid deployment force. Of course, that would help if it ever came to pass. Will it, do you think?
I mean, this has been talked about for more than a decade, and so far we haven't seen any real action. And it was interesting that even though the French had this political rhetoric of Africans have to take responsibility for their own security, in the same breath, François Hollande is sending contingents of French troops to the Central African Republic, and he already has French forces in Mali, which was an intervention that was also staged this year. So there seems to be some double standards at work here.
And that Mali intervention is probably the sort of thing within Central African Republic that they look on and see the difference that can make, and in relatively short term as well.
Yes, it is remarkable. I was also speaking to the Somali foreign minister there, who in Somalia they have relied on a huge but African force there, and it's taken them more than 5 years to even begin to try to restore security in that country, whereas in Mali a huge amount of progress was made in just a few months.
Do you think that the avoidance of an utter calamity in Central African Republic is possible, though?
It is possible. It is interesting that sometimes when you send in these crack troops from a foreign country such as France, if you look at what the British did in Sierra Leone, they, with very few troops, they made a huge impact on the ground. And the fact that the French troops patrolling certain cities in the Central African Republic already seem to have calmed the violence, it is possible that they will make some kind of at least temporary impact.
A lot of people hoping so. Mary, thank you very much. Thank you.